Zhaitan is the Elder Dragon of Shadow and Death, also known as the Undead Elder Dragon. Like the other Elder Dragons, he feeds on magic, and his minions, the Mouse of Zhaitan, scour Tyria in search of magical artifacts to feed to their Dragon Master. Its minions are called the Risen, since they're the undead that Zhaitan has raised. When you start your journey in Guild Wars 2, Zhaitan has been awake for about 100 years, feasting on the magic of ore. The last time Zhaitan was awake is estimated by scholars to have been about 10,000 years ago. It was around this time that the Morsad and the Forgotten banded together in an attempt to slay the undead Elder Dragon, unfortunately failing miserably as it proved to be too great of an adversary. Zhaitan's appearance is decayed and tattered, befitting of undeath. Its roughly dragon-shaped silhouette is formed by a twisting mass that branches into two major pairs of wings, flanked by secondary pairs attached to multiple slender tails that form from its lower body. The lower jaw of its draconic head is replaced by a nest of small dragon-headed necks, and a sickly green light glows through its eyes and mouth. For an elder dragon, Zhaitan is actually quite small. The airship the Pact used to bring it down rivaled the undead dragon in size. When the gods came to Tyria, Zhaitan was already slumbering beneath Ore, the land that the gods claimed as their own as they sensed the powerful magic of the Artesian waters, as explained in my lore video on the gods, which I will link in the description. When the gods revoked the gift of magic back into the Bloodstone, they accidentally tapped into the Elder Dragon's energy, increasing the power of magic in doing so. As stated before, the undead dragon has been awake for about 100 years now. In the year 1219 AE, it awoke and brought up the sunken nation of Ore with it, which was doomed to the bottom of the Sea of Sorrows by the cataclysm. Kobaya Mariner, to whom Mariner's Strand is named in Lion's Arch, witnessed this firsthand as his ship got struck by the Great Tsunami. Before he went under, he saw thousands of swarming Risen on the rising lands, which we would later find out was Ore. This great tsunami drowned thousands, sank hundreds of ships, and devastated Lion's Arch, reshaping the entire coastline of the Sea of Sorrows. It also drowned most of Kaineng City, which can still be seen as Old Kaineng with the End of Dragons expansion, and washed parts of Xingye Island beneath the waves. The destroyed ships would later rise again, the crew now risen in service of Zhaitan. These black-sailed ships cut off all routes leading towards Gantha and Alona, beginning an age of isolation for Tyria. Zhaitan sent this undead armada to ravage the most populated ports around the Sea of Sorrows, adding their victims to his Risen. One of the captains was the same captain who went down with the ship Kobaya was on. Unlike Kobaya, this captain hadn't survived, and now led his ship against Lion's Arch itself, only to be thwarted by his former crew member. Your own personal story starts in 1325 AE, and Zhaitan's influence has grown so much that his Risen forces advance deeper into Tyria, becoming the threat you have to deal with as you grow through the ranks of your order. The undead dragon's champion, Blightghast the Plaguebringer, launches a surprise attack on Claw Island near Lion's Arch, defeating the Lion Guard stationed there as it readies for an assault on the rebuilt Lion's Arch. As this happened, the Risen also push on to attack the Order's headquarters in an attempt to weaken Tyria's strongest forces, yet ultimately fail as you and the other members of the Orders push them back. With the undead dragon proving itself too much of a threat, the three Orders band together under your guidance as the commander of the Pact and start fighting back earnestly, starting with the retaking of Claw Island. Together with the leader of the Pact, the Sylvari firstborn Traherne, you manage to take back Claw Island and push the Risen back into Ore, establishing forward outposts along the way. Learning that Zhaitan feasts on magical artifacts through his Mouths of Zhaitan, you manage to cut off his supply lines and even cleanse the Artesian waters of his corruption. These waters being a fountain of pure magic, that which had drawn the human gods to Tyria in the first place. The Pact, along with the reunited Destiny's Edge, engaged the weakened Zhaitan on their airship. This ship being a combination of Azuran technology, human craftsmanship, and Shar destructive power, it managed to take down the Elder Dragon. The dragon ultimately falling to its demise in the city of the gods Ara. Now what we didn't know back then was that the dragons played a significant role in the upkeep of Tyria's magic. With Zhaitan's demise, his death magic was dispersed around the world, empowering the other Elder Dragons, and even other Risen champions like Tequatl the Sunless. This was also why Mordremoth, after being awakened by Scarlet Briar, was able to use dead hosts to make his Mordrim clones. Later, with Primordus and Jormag's awakening, they as well started experimenting with his death spectrum, creating the Death-Touched Destroyers and the Unstable Abominations. Since Zhaitan's defeat, the corruption of ore began to reverse slowly, and the Risen were now known as the Unchained. Free from their master's grip, some continued fighting in their fallen master's name, while others simply killed for the sake of killing. The Dermot Priory, one of the orders of Tyria, acquired the dragon's tail and brought it to their keep, studying it to find ways to combat the other Elder Dragons. I hope you enjoyed this lore video on the Elder Dragon Zhaitan. If you did, don't forget to boop that like button, and subscribe if you want more of these lore videos. Until the next one though, take care my friends, bye bye.